Let's face it, the midget is simply an adorable little creature. Ah, yes, the mere sight of these fun sized humanoids signals that good times are a comin'. Their species, Homo insignificus, descended from the ancient races of dwarves and elves. Although their appearance may be downright frightening, with young children often weeping after catching a glimpse of their distorted freak faces, these pleasantly petite pygmies pose little threat to our existence. For the most part, the midget is an obedient mammal, and often anxious to please its human master. Because of this, we let them act in our films. We here at Burnt Film have compiled the definitive list of these talented tiny thespians. Without further ado, here are the top 10 of these pint sized primates that became full size heroes in our hearts. Number 10, Gary Coleman. Coleman started acting shortly after his birth. His first role, still an infant, was portraying a milk dud. It wasn't long before he landed his biggest job on Different Strokes, the show that taught white America it was safe to befriend blacks, as long as the Negroes were miniature and able to crack wise. Sadly, this half sized half-wit was as short on brain power as he was in stature. Constantly bewildered, he spent the majority of his life asking people what they were talking about. Midgets often have to use shortened words. Their teeny mouths are unable to accommodate a regular human's words. Coleman's last film was the award winning Midgets vs. Mascots. Unfortunately, he died a kidneyless virgin after attempting to parachute down a flight of stairs. Number 9, Vern Troyer. This disgusting homunculus was actually born to Amish parents, thereby proving that God hates the Amish, or at least loves electricity. While obviously best known for his mini-me role in the Austin Powers franchise, it was his dramatic turn in a sex tape with real-life boyfriend Mike Myers that garnered critical acclaim. After the straight-to-video release, Myers was arrested and charged with counts of bestiality, lewdness, and sodomy. Troyer's next gig will be playing the part of a tumor in Seth MacFarlane's Madeline Kahn biopic. After that, he plans to commit suicide. Number 8, Harvey Villaches. This devious little demon monkey was born on Fantasy Island and later starred in a show about his homeland that bore the same name. He was of Filipino descent. Early on, this proved problematic, as many dismissed his midget condition as simply being Filipino, which is an entirely different condition. The highlight of his film career, and likely his entire pathetic life, was his role in a James Bond flick. Hervé had a lifelong fascination with airplanes, often pointing them out to random people on the street. While you'll hear rumors that he killed himself, Hervé actually choked to death on a Tic Tac while riding aboard a model airplane. Number 7, Zelda Rubenstein. This spunky little goblin lady was actually a learned member of academia. She earned her degree in bacteriology, largely due to the fact that she required no microscope in order to view samples. The midget's tiny eyes enable him, her, or it to view minuscule particles without the need for magnification. Unlike her fellow freaks, Zelda had little difficulty breaking into Hollywood. Many people attribute this to her status as a known Jew. Unfortunately, she only made a small portion of what her male counterparts earned. Gender inequality is also a problem in the midget community. Of course, Zelda will always be remembered for her role in Poltergeist. But what isn't always remembered is the magical midget curse she placed on fellow Poltergeist actress Heather O'Rourke. Jealous of Heather's height, Zelda demanded a lock of her hair. She claimed it was a necessary ingredient in a potion she learned to concoct from her dwarven ancestors. So it was no surprise when Heather O'Rourke died at age 12 and Zelda lived comfortably to the ripe old age of 76, which is 148 midget years. Number 6, David Rapport. This dapper little ground dweller was born in merry old London, England. Moviegoers already found midgets adorable, but having one who could speak like a proper British gentleman upped the cute factor considerably. He starred in such classics as Time Bandits, Sword of the Valiant, and The Bride, where he displayed his astonishing acting range by portraying an English circus dwarf. Following the cancellation of his television series The Wizard, Rappaport fell into a deep depression. In 1990, he committed suicide by hanging himself off of a doorknob. Number 5, Phil Fondacaro. An awkward imp, Phil began his career playing an Ewok, which was practically a rite of passage for stunted thespians of that era. Roles in Willow and Ghoulies 2 soon followed. However, it was his turn in 1986's Troll that really established him as a bona fide leading male. Known as the Daniel Day-Lewis of the midget community, Fondacaro subscribes to the method acting approach, even going so far as living homeless under a bridge and scaring the pedestrians while preparing for the Troll film. He currently resides in a 2-story Doritos bag. Number 4, Tony Cox. Can a midget be black? PC term, negroid? You betcha. In fact, it gives movie studios a neat way to fulfill two minority quotas with one actor. Enter Tony Cox, the thug midget. Like many on this list, he's played an Ewok, a Nelwyn, a Leprechaun, and a Christmas elf. But his portrayals are said to have more swag and street cred. Cox has 7 children by 4 different women. Number 3, Peter Dinklage. This pompous pygmy is lionized for his ability to almost appear normal. Unfortunately, this has led to being ostracized by the midget community. See, theirs is a culture not unlike the slaves. Most of his fellow dwarfs view Dinklage as a quote unquote house midget, a sellout who likes to pretend that he's actually human. He clearly thinks he's bigger than he is. While he has a propensity for playing intelligent characters, Dinklage himself is actually a borderline retard. Still, he is a hot commodity in Hollywood at the moment, relatively speaking. Rumor has it his sweat will be collected and sold to Game of Thrones geeks as cologne. Number 2, Billy Barty. The godfather of the 20th century's cinematic midget movement, this minuscule Mormon has an IMDb page 4 times the length of his sad little leg. From the late 20s till the turn of the new millennium, Barty was always working in film, television, or the Keebler Treehouse. His life finally came to a tragic end when he drove his Hot Wheels off of a kitchen counter. Number 1, Warwick Davis. This lovable Lilliputian is the Sir Laurence Olivier of the halfling population. He began as an Ewok but quickly rose to stardom as the title role in Ron Howard's Willow, often considered the Citizen Kane of midget movies. From there, he worked alongside Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun, still her second finest film, as well as its many sequels, with additional turns in other sci-fi franchises such as Harry Potter and The Chronicles of Narnia. It's fair to address Davis as Mr. Fantasy. Sorry, traffic. A notorious drunkard, Davis has been known to guzzle several thimbles of scotch and wash them down with a half a can of Bass. Honorable mention, Tom Cruise. Beware the Tom Cruise. It is a dangerous beast. If you're unlucky enough to see it, avert your eyes. I repeat, do not make eye contact. The Tom Cruise can apparently use a special form of magic known euphemistically as Scientology to steal the souls of the living. Scientists are uncertain as to why or even how the Tom Cruise has maintained fame, considering each of its movies is more vapid than the last. Rumor has it that the Tom Cruise was born half human, half midget. As such, this unholy ghoul could walk among both groups, much like Blade can do with vampires and men. Prophets speak of a day when dutiful, God-fearing peoples band together to smite this spawn of Satan. Until then, we must wait and pray. Agree or disagree with our list? Post your comments below. Until then, for Corrosive Radio, I'm Dan McMahon.